Chablis and Chardonnay. What's the difference? We're going to dive deep into it right now.
So why is there even confusion? Well, here's the thing. Chablis is a place. It's a place on a map, and it's where they grow, you guessed it, Chardonnay.
Some of the most famous, expensive white wine in all of France and all of the world comes from the Chablis region, from the vineyards surrounding the village of Chablis. There are 4 basic categories of Chablis. There's Petit Chablis, there's Chablis, there's Premier Cru Chablis, and Grand Cru Chablis. As you move up the hierarchy, the wines become more concentrated, more mineral, more powerful, more age-worthy.
Chablis is mostly unoaked, very high-acid Chardonnay. And when a lot of people hear the word Chardonnay, they think of the California style, which is large, oaked, heavy, weighty. So it's very easy to separate the two. But again, it's the same grape, just made into very, very different styles. If you want to dive a little deeper into this, watch our New World versus Old World video, and we'll kind of give you a better explanation as to what this really means.
There have been times when I recommend a Chablis to a guest who's serving oysters or seafood, and I get this strange look that, Chablis? I don't want that. And part of the reason for Chablis having a somewhat tarnished image, not in France, but in some parts of the world, is, well, there's a little history to this. The California wine industry was booming back at the early 20th century. And then we had Prohibition, and then immediately after Prohibition, we had the Great Depression, and then we had World War II. So going into the 50s and 60s, the California wine industry was pretty much in shambles. In the 1970s and 1980s, when the industry was just starting up again, a lot of not so great wine was labeled Chablis. There were actually a lot of big producers of wine that were battling for the new American wine market. Some of the old timers might recall Orson Welles in a Paul Masson commercial saying that Chablis was America's favorite wine.
Chablis is America's most popular wine. Paul Masson Chablis.
And he famously said,
Paul Masson will sell no wine before it's time.
The problem is, none of that wine was actually Chablis, which is protected in France. So Americans started to associate the term Chablis with inexpensive kind of jug wine. What makes Chablis so unique is the area is very far north, right at the limit of where Chardonnay can ripen. And they have a very particular type of soil in the region. It's called Kimmeridgian clay. And what it is basically limestone and fossilized seashells. And they impart a really specific minerality to the wine. Chardonnay from the rest of the world, depending on where it's grown, if it's grown in a more moderate, temperate climate, the wines will have more stone fruit, golden delicious apple sort of flavors. Those Chardonnays that are grown in warm areas, you'll get notes of pineapple, mango, peach. And then depending on the oak aging that they do, if they use a lot of oak, you can get distinct flavors of vanilla and caramel and almost a creamy texture to the Chardonnay.
If you want to drink a Chardonnay in the style of Chablis but prefer an American bottle of wine, look to unoaked styles of Chardonnay. They're going to have that high mineral content, high acidity, but it will be from probably Oregon or California. What are some great examples of both styles of Chardonnay? Before I answer that question, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell, and leave some comments below. A great example of a California-style Chardonnay is Octopoda Russian River Valley. The Russian River Valley is in Sonoma, and it's perfect. It's known for Chardonnay. It's got cooling influence from the Pacific, a long growing season. It gets that marine layer, which is the fog that rolls in the morning and protects the grapes from the really, really hot suns of the day, at least in the morning. And it's perfect for ripening Chardonnay. So you get some of the weight of the California style and a little pinch of oak. It's a lovely wine.
One of my favorite Chablis is from a very small boutique grower in the Chablis region. It's the Gan Cuvée 1975. Absolutely delicious Chablis with all of that minerality and great acidity. Perfect wine for a plate of oysters or some stone crabs.
So now that you know the difference between Chardonnay and Chablis, there isn't a really big difference. Visit us online at abcfws.com or shop our selection at one of our locations across the state of Florida. And check out some of our other videos.